to HR in the Fast Lane. I'm Nicole Martin, and today my lovely guest, Kevin Kinsella. Hi, Kevin.
Hello there.
How you doing?
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm thrilled that you're here. I've had the pleasure of knowing Kevin for almost 2 years now, right?
2 years, yeah, it goes fast.
It does go fast. And I have to say that his background is rich in the background in terms of being a serial entrepreneur, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
Is that fair?
That means you have some wins and some losses, yeah, so that would be appropriate.
And that's really, I love the way you look at that, having wins and losses, because it's the richness, truly, of your journey through being an entrepreneur, being somebody who, founded essentially an Inc. 500 organization, right? Going on the other side of that, essentially, coming back and not only finding or organizing your own businesses, but helping lead other people's businesses in the small to medium business enterprise framework. Yeah. And so when you think of just the wealth of the experience that Kevin can bring, he brings all of that today to working with CEOs within CEO peer groups under Vistage International. Correct.
Vistage is the world's largest CEO organization. 22,000 members around the world.
That's amazing.
Over 900 in Chicago alone. It's people. I had people in Vistage for 25 and 30 years that are friends of mine that I didn't know they were in it. And now I'm lucky to have you as a really good friend because of it. And Nicole and I get to share a lot of things back and forth as far as evolving her business and her challenges and things to avoid and things to chase.
Yeah, and I think it's really, whether it be Vistage or any kind of framework, just the concept of having a CEO peer group and having the opportunity to exchange with like-minded professionals, be it that you're the leader of your business, or even if I'm a trusted advisor in HR and I see high potential performers in the business, if you see other executive leaders, there's a number of different applications I feel for peer group exchange. Can you speak maybe to the feelings of an individual when they don't know what a peer group is, and they might not even think that they need something like that? What are maybe some of the feelings that somebody would be experiencing and that a peer group could be a solution for that?
Well, imagine a group of peers from all different industries that have no skin in the game with you at all, that will talk to you as just one professional to another, saying, I think you should do X, or I think you should do Y. The biggest power of peer groups that I've seen is that you don't know what you don't know. And frequently, we'll think of our group, we'll have 16, 17 people sitting around the table, and you might bring an issue to the group, and then there's somebody sitting at the other end who says, I had the same issue and I didn't even know it. Yeah. And so you get the benefit of others' experiences, first of all.
Which is rather rich, and I think when you think about HR and you think of the strategic decisions in HR that business leaders have to make, being it from attracting talent, what kind of role do I need in my business, who am I looking for, I mean, thinking of sometimes you have to exit somebody that you haven't been able to let go of.
Absolutely. Well, and you think about your mission quite frequently is people's retention, because there's such an emergency lack of talent out there, right?
Yep.
And
no play on words there.
Yeah, of course not. But we talk a lot about retention because it's hard enough to find them and it's getting harder to keep them. And
absolutely.
So best practice is a huge part of this. The peer group, you get the benefit of it. We probably have in our group, we have 18 members. We probably have, I don't know, maybe 400 years of CEO experience.
That's amazing. When you said that to me, I just think...
It's nuts.
I never thought of it that way, honestly, Kevin.
I didn't either, because being a serial entrepreneur, I've always tried to do it on my own. I'm just stubborn, driven. Think of them, stubborn is the cousin of drivenness. And the problem with that is, for a lot of my life, I wasn't willing to take input. And this forces input down your throat. So it makes you get better decisions, it makes you make them faster.
And sometimes the unbiased aspect of it, I think, is really important to emphasize. And also, often when you're inside a business, one of the key responsibilities of leaders, no matter their role, is to make decisions.
Absolutely.
And sometimes people need time to make decisions. And so I find that people seem to make decisions more quickly.
Oh, through the peer group? Absolutely. I think human nature, the best decision people usually make is no decision. They'll just sit on it. Yeah. Here, the peer group and the accountability, the role I play is that of a Vistage Chair. And so I hold you accountable to decisions Absolutely. That you want to make. And so we make them quicker. And someone's coming at you saying, you said this was important to you. Right. Why isn't it done? And someone who works for you, they're not going to push you like that. Or someone you're paying, like a consultant or right. An accountant, they're not going to. They don't want to lose your pay. Yeah. Here, no one cares. All they want to do is make you better.
What do you think are some of the really profound ways that you've seen peer groups help people that you've worked with in the history of what you've been witnessing?
Particularly in HR, I think you find compensation levels is a big part of it. What are you paying? How does that work? No question, the evaluation process has been a big one. I work with primarily small businesses, maybe 5 to 50 employees, and as you know better than I, they don't have a good system for reviewing their employees on a systematic basis, and how even in a 90-day review, there's nothing usually, or it's lax. And so the best practice sharing is help people vet people more quickly, get them out quicker, terminate them quicker. Yeah. I think that's the thing I've noticed a lot, is that small businesses, and it's probably true for business in general, is people tend to hold on to people longer than they should. And the peer group can look you square in the eye and say, you say this person's underperforming. You're up against a time crunch to make your business successful. Let's go.
And that's only fair to the talent too. I think talent really wants to know if they're in the right place, and they deserve to know that as well. And so ultimately it's those decisions that we kind of just drag our heels on and don't move forward on, and we don't know if it's the right decision. And honestly, within the business environment, how often can you guarantee you're getting an unbiased opinion and the truth?
Rarely.
Right.
Really.
And how often can you feel that you're in a safe environment to speak out loud about different scenarios with trusted advisors?
Rarely. In a peer group, the confidentiality is a big part of it. We obviously push that highly. But you get best practices and you get decisions more quickly. I think the thing I didn't expect or recognize going into this discipline was how fast the decisions came. Because you have 15 people giving you suggestions on your topic, and so you're getting a breadth of knowledge, but you're getting it faster. So you make the decisions faster, so you grow your company more quickly. It's the math, and we're all fighting time. This helps you conquer time. You
know what's interesting is too, people who work with CEOs, that they say they're always working in the business, yes. Right? Like I could be a VP of name the industry or field or category, right? Functional area. And I say, gosh, my CEO is always on my case and doing this. Is that a symptom that maybe they might be working for a CEO that could benefit from a peer group and focusing on working on the business versus in the business, and that evolutionary change sometimes as the business grows?
Being a CEO can be a very lonely position. To the people within your company and to people around you, you always have to put on the smiley face like everything's going great. And I've been fortunate enough to have some good successes, and I've lost businesses. And when you're downward sliding, or you're not growing like you're supposed to, and you have to put on a cheery face all the time, a peer group gives you a place where people understand. They know you're awake at 3 in the morning worried about payroll. They get that, and so you're not lonely anymore, and you can be vulnerable, and then you can get real help. You don't have to pretend.
And that's really a wonderful thing to be informed about. I think if you're a trusted advisor in a business, and ultimately you're working for a CEO, maybe you're not a CEO yourself, sometimes you want to be the trusted resource and be resourceful. And so if you can even put this information sometimes in someone's preview of what they could advantage from. I think of CEOs that I've worked for in the past that were entrepreneurial, and I was working for them for years, and I'd think, gosh, if I had maybe been the person that mentioned that, hey, have you thought of a peer group for yourself? I think that it would have maximized their leadership opportunity within the business to my peers, being the leadership team, and even myself individually. And so I think of whether you're the person that's in-house, right, or the CEO right now, it's truly an opportunity to consider just the different ways that this may maximize your performance.
You're going to get better if you're willing to not be defensive, is really the bottom line.
Be open.
You have to be open and willing to take what's going to come at you, and that's true at any executive level.
Yeah. And Vistage is something that I ran into a big company in Chicago not that long ago, and they let me know that they brought it in internally even just to deal with their high potential performers and what they're doing to actually create peer groups within their high potential performer framework and succession planning and bringing up next generations. And I found that absolutely interesting.
It is. Vistage is a smart organization, much smarter than I. It's about a 60-year-old company, and there's different levels of Vistage. Okay. We're together, as you know, in what's called a small business group. Right. There are chief executive groups that have firms all the way up to $1 billion in sales. There are key advisor groups. If you're just the number 2 or number 3 person that's really key to the business, you sit with other key people at your level. And what you're talking about here is a Vistage Inside group, where they'll go inside a company and give the same kind of mentoring within. And so there's almost a solution pretty much for any executive type setup.
Well, it's been really, truly beneficial to me. I think that the way that I've worked with the group, obviously I've personally benefited from it, so I might be a little bit biased, but I do think that any kind of peer group that is structured and in a safe environment for executive leaders, high potential performers, peer managers, you name it, any kind of person going into a new performing position, high performer that is coming up through succession, that peer framework I think is going to help them excel, and truly any kind of framework that you're speaking of could be a solution. Where do people find you, Kevin, if they're interested in learning more about Vistage, or if they're interested in just connecting with you personally?
LinkedIn is probably the best place to go. I spend most of my waking hours on LinkedIn looking for more CEOs, so it's just kind of the nature of the beast, but that's a good way to find me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I really appreciate you coming out to HR in the Fast Lane.
Thanks for the invitation, and thanks for being such a good Vistage member yourself. Nicole is a wonderful contributor to the other people of the group, but the other nicety of this component, you become a family, and that's the way you treat it, and people look at you that way as a really important family member. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Truly.
Likewise.
Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thanks, everybody. Make it a great day.